When I was 18 years old, I thought I never wanted to have children, mainly because I would hear stories from my sister and friends who were starting to have babies at that time about the drugs they used, the IVs, the fetal monitors, and it all sounded like being tied up and stripped naked and exposed in front of strangers. And I knew that feeling because that had happened to me when I was a child, and I honestly thought, if that is what it's going to take to have a baby, I will just never have babies. So at 18, when I was in college, I took a human sexuality class, and during that class, a woman came in and showed a video of a home birth and how you could just naturally birth a baby according to how God designed women's bodies to birth babies. And I actually had this thought, if I ever had a baby, which I won't, I would want to do that. So it gave me the knowledge that there was a possibility of something different. Well, lo and behold, at 23, I gave my life to Jesus. I was married, and he said, have a baby. So there I was with the possibilities in front of me that God wanted me to have a baby. I did not want to be tied up, drugged, and stripped naked in front of strangers or people I had not chosen to be around. And there was the knowledge of a possibility of a different way of doing things. So I pursued and prayed and researched and found that I could have this natural birth. Now, I'm not going to go into my birth stories right now, but the point is that set me on the path that brings us to today. I started teaching childbirth education because I never wanted anybody to have to feel the stress and the pain and the anguish of things being done to their body that they did not want done in the name of birthing a baby. The thing that made me kind of sad, though, was as a Christian, I thought, surely Christians will get this. Surely pastors and churches will know that God has this amazing design and that if we just pursue him, like we're told to do with everything in our life, he will direct our paths. Unfortunately, what I found was Christians did not have the knowledge of the possibilities any better than anybody else did, and they really weren't having better birthing outcomes. And I was watching over the last, and I'm going to say it, 35 years, watching families in churches having difficulties with their marriage, having difficulties with their parenting, having postpartum depression, and having mood disorders and trauma after they had a baby at the same rates as everybody else. So God set me on this path back in 1981 to learn about his design and that he expects, I don't know how else to say it, he expects better from his people. And we're not doing any better. But on the course of that path, I spent 12 years doing birth education, 7 of them doing discerning childbirth, which is what I want to talk about today a little bit, and then taking a break and going to graduate school. In graduate school, I studied postpartum mood disorders and I studied trauma after cesareans. This book was a product of that. But this book is designed to help you heal after you've already been traumatized. And, you know, honestly, I'd like to see us prevent it. I'd like people looking at the church and going, why are their families doing better? Why do they have lower C-section rates? Why do they have less postpartum mood disorders? So this book here came out of a desire to help prevent some of those things. So if somebody had some of these issues that could contribute to them making decisions that led to this trauma, then they could maybe get the help they needed ahead of time. What we're doing here at Dunamas Center Ministries now is developing our Discerning Childbirth program where we have birth education. Eventually we'll have childbirth assistance and postpartum care for the family starting in the church and then the church being able to minister out. So as a piece of that, we have this little workbook we developed, and this little workbook will help families design how they'd like to have people come in and help them. So when you want to have a program in your church to help new families, it's all right here in this little handbook. So if people in your church go to help, they can just pull this handbook out. We call it a Titus II program because we really believe the older men and women in the church should be going into the young men and women's homes and helping them learn how to care for their families and to love one another and to even learn relationship to where you can now have a mentor and the young women will listen because you've built a bridge with a program like this. Now, I know it may seem like I'm getting a little bit long, but now let me get to the point of why I'm doing this video today. We know that God is calling us to step up and really get churches to understand how important this is to their church's health. A lot of churches do prevention. Oh, there's a problem with a marriage, or a mom is already really upset. How do we help them at that point? How do we get them counseling? How do we do those things? But they don't do a lot of preventing the problem in the first place. So God has moved us to really go into areas where we can get this information into the hands of pastors. So what does that mean? That means we have to travel to other parts of the United States. We are in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and we need to get out to Tennessee. We need to get out to Arkansas. We need to get out to Texas. We've been in Alabama, we've been in Mississippi and Kansas, and we get out and we want to get where the pastors are gathering at their conferences this year and talk to them about how they can help their church create healthy marriages, have healthy families, and therefore have healthier churches. But to do that, we need money. It always comes down to that, doesn't it? I really wish it didn't, but it does. So we need travel expenses, and we need money for paying vendor fees and printing materials and getting in there and really talking to pastors. So if you'd like to help us help the church be healthier by having healthier families, by having healthier marriages, by preventing the birthing traumas, then please go to the link below this video. It's our donation page on our website, and you can make any amount of donation and just put into the instructions for travel, and we'll know what that means, and we will dedicate that to getting this information directly to pastors, and hopefully then to churches, and hopefully into programs, and then to you. So thank you for listening. I'm Dr. Pauline Dillard, and this is a Dunamas Center moment.